Mate,
We can just...
you win a centre. How cool is it that an Aussie and a Kiwi won the two events at St Andrews this year?
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, I wouldn't mind swapping with Cam, but I don't think he'd swap.
I don't think so, no.
All right, I'll just start. Ryan Fox, welcome back to your second home after a year, and I think we've all marvelled at. Second home, no? Can we call you that? We claim you.
Yeah, I mean, this feels like home in terms of golf, definitely. So it's nice to be back.
We just like to think this is where it all started. So.
It was, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've got great memories of playing on the Aussie Tour when I first turned pro, and always want to come back and play. Obviously, the last couple of years have made that quite difficult, but yes, it's nice to be back, and it's been a long time since I played here. I think I was doing a Bruce earlier. I think it was 2009 was the Aussie Am here. It was the last time I was here, so yeah, it's good to be back playing Royal Queensland.
Now, just for the record, is it true that you had a 6-hour stopover in Auckland?
Yes.
On the way here, what was the motivator for that?
We've got a 2-year-old, well, basically 2-year-old at the moment, and we'd done London to South Africa, Dubai, and it was just easier to take the whole family home. We had a lot of stuff to bring home from London, and it was just easier to go home and drop them off and me come back on Tuesday morning. I just didn't kind of anticipate how bad it was going to be. I should have, but I think I got home at 12:30. By the time I'd repacked my bag and put some washing on because I had no clean shirts, I got to bed at 2 and woke up again at about 4:15 to make sure the washing was dry. Put it in my suitcase and left for the airport at 5, and I didn't know what planet I was on yesterday, and to be fair, for a couple of hours this morning I was a little bit dicey as well, but feel a little bit better now, and 6 o'clock tea time tomorrow is quite early, but at least I've got sort of nothing much on this afternoon and get a bit of a rest, and I'll go to bed really early and hopefully wake up feeling a bit fresher tomorrow.
All right, Marco, you want to have a crack?
Yeah, just on that, I mean, it's the 6 a.m. tea time, but it's like the sort of marquee group. It's, I guess shows your, what same, the year that you've had and, how good it's been.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously cool to be back here playing with Cam and Scotty. I haven't played with Cam for a long time. We played a lot of amateur golf together, again, a fairly long time ago, but I played a bit with Scotty over the last few years, and they've both got Kiwi caddies on the bag, so we're going to outnumber them out there, which is quite nice. And it's great to play in those kind of groups. I got to play with Rory last week, the first round of Dubai, and to get a couple of rounds with two Aussie legends is awesome, and obviously they're really nice guys as well. So hopefully we'll have a good couple of days out there, but I'm sure there'll be plenty to talk about regardless.
Foxy, have you had a chance to soak in what you've achieved this year? Have you realised it yet, or is it still kind of a blur?
It's definitely a blur at the moment. It still feels a bit surreal. I mean, I obviously I wouldn't have. It's not on the goals list to finish in the top 10 on the order of merit. To be honest, I was after the last couple of years I had where I was probably more trying to keep a card than finish high up. And I guess the big goal at the start of the year was to get another win, and I got that under the belt pretty quickly, and that just let everything kind of free roll the rest of the year. And it was. You don't get often in golf where you feel like you can have a free run. You're always playing for something, and it was after that it was kind of everything else as a bonus. And obviously I got myself in contention a bunch more times, and to get the win at Dunhill was amazing, and arguably could have been a couple more in there, but it's pretty tough to win out on any tour nowadays, and to give myself as many chances as I did was great. And it'll probably take a little bit to sink in when I get home, but I think with these two events it kind of doesn't quite feel like the season's finished. I know we're in a new season this year, but I think I'll get a bit more time after the Aussie Open where I can go home and celebrate properly and enjoy some time. I think it'll probably sink in a bit better then.
What was the most special moment this year? Was it getting the win early on, or was it more sort of sentimental victory with Warnie and stuff? That element of St Andrews and the Dunhill?
Yeah, I mean, I think Dunhill was a pretty easy one in that regard. I mean, winning Rack early was huge. I think it did a lot for the confidence for the rest of the season. But to win at the home of golf in any tournament is pretty special. Let alone one as big as that. And obviously, I had the history there with Warnie, and it would have been great to be able to share that with him this year. And I I think a lot of people said it that week. You kind of felt like he was looking down from somewhere, probably drinking a vodka Red Bull and enjoying it. And yeah, it was a cool week for me. My family was there, and we'd had a pretty rough run actually in the previous 3 weeks. I'd injured my knee, had a couple of withdrawals, and then I lost my clubs going to France for the French Open from London, which don't ask me how you do that, but it happened. And to kind of come through that, and Mum and Dad were up for those 4 weeks, and I was pretty keen to just get them some weekend golf to watch, and obviously did a bit better than that. So to have them up there, my wife, my little one, and that was a pretty special memory. And I think we've got a pretty awesome photo with that trophy on the Swilcan Bridge, which is pretty hard to beat.
Pretty special. How many times did you play with Warnie in the guy?
I think it was 4 or 5.
Quite a lot.
Yeah, I remember the first time we played together there. He always used to play with Pom, and then sort of obviously Pom sort of left the tour. I think he played with a couple of other Aussies. I know I played with him one year when he was paired with Wade Ormsby, and I was with Michael Vaughan. And I think the first year we played together, I get a text from Warnie saying, "Hey Foxy, would you like to play the Dunhill with me?" I'm like, A, why is Warnie texting me? And B, why is Warnie wanting to play with me? And we get on the first tee, and we'd had a bit of fun. He goes, "Foxy, I'm sorry, but I've got to admit something." He goes, "In my 11 appearances here," or something like that, he goes, "my pros never made the cut, and I've never made the team cut." And I was like, "Oh no, I've jumped on a grenade here, haven't I?" And I think we made the team cut that year, and the following year we both made the cut, and then I made the cut, I think, the year after that, and then last year we finished second as a team. That was the last time I saw him, and last time I played golf with him, and it was a typical Warnie moment. He'd got in at 4 o'clock in the morning. There's some great photos of him and a few of the other cricketers playing cricket in the old course hotel with a whiskey bottle and a tennis ball at some ungodly hour, and he gets on the first tee and goes, "Oh, I'm no good this morning," and he starts off with a birdie net eagle and proceeded to shoot. We shot 56 as a team, and he beat all the pros off the stick with getting 10 shots. So it was he was just a legend of a man, and it was very sad for him not to be at Dunhill with us this year, but it was kind of nice to honour him in that way too. And as I said, I kind of felt like he was there for a lot of it, especially there on Sunday. For me, I kind of got a couple of nice breaks there, and I'd like to think that Warnie was out there helping somehow.
Ryan, congratulations on your year. Firstly, obviously the putting's been the big improvement this year, or statistically at least. Is there anything else you can put your finger on that you've probably been asked this question a number of times lately, but for us, are you able to explain what's been the reason other than putting?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things going on there. Putting's been the big thing this year, obviously, as you said, but all my other stats have improved a little bit as well, which is kind of a nice thing. I think, obviously it's been a tough couple of years travel-wise, so having that all sort of disappear this year, feel like it went back to normal for the most part. I've never been one of those guys that can compartmentalise it that well. If I was struggling a little bit off the golf course, I'd kind of take it onto the golf course, and that's what I felt the last couple of years. So in terms of all of that going this year, and knowing that when I was away I could get back home and see the family if anything happened, or my family could travel and we could have our parents travel up and stuff like that. So that made everything a lot easier, and I think that just made it easier to play well on the golf course. And probably the other thing, I started working with Jamie Goff at the Open last year, and that was purely because of COVID. I work with Marcus Wheelhouse at home and still work with Marcus, but he couldn't travel with COVID, couldn't get back in the country, so I hadn't seen him in about 6 months at the Open. Maybe not quite 6, maybe 4 months at the Open last year, and I was struggling a little bit and started working with Jamie, and he was travelling most weeks, and I think just having eyes on basically every week on tour just sort of kept me on the straight and narrow a little bit more. And I'm a bit more of a field player, and without a coach there, it was kind of okay, well, what am I trying to find today? And I'd kind of go off track quite a bit. And then traditionally, and before COVID, Marcus would come up for 10 days, maybe 5 or 6 times a year, and I'd play good around that time, and then it would kind of teeter off. And just having someone there week in, week out like Jamie was, and making sure it was never too far away, I think that helped a lot in terms of the consistency. We didn't do anything funky in terms of technique for me. We didn't reinvent the wheel or work on anything different. It was just having someone there week in, week out made a big difference.
I was just going to ask, I guess going against Cam as an amateur, what are your memories of him as a scrawny little Queenslander?
I remember him being really, really good. I mean, he was, I'm probably 7 or 8 years older than Cam, so when I was playing for New Zealand, I was sort of 23, 24, and he was 16, 17 at the time and playing senior golf for Australia, and you knew at that point he was going to be really good. I think he won the Nomura Cup in Fiji like 2011 and played Natandola, which is obviously that's a proper test of golf, and I remember watching him around there for a couple of rounds going, okay, yeah, he's going to be really good. I think he might have been 18 at the time or something, and yeah, it's been cool to follow his progress, and he's still the same guy he was, and I think he's just refined everything. He always had an amazing short game, and that's no different to now. I mean, you watch him around the greens with a wedge in his hand and on the greens. I think there's arguably no one better in the world at that at the moment, and he's obviously pretty good mentally as well, and he always was as an amateur, so it's been good to follow his progress, and I'm looking forward to playing with him the next couple of days.
Your world ranking obviously opens up some doors for next year. You talked about travel, and I guess that going back to normal, how does that impact? I know you're one day into season 2023, but how does the schedule next year going to change?
Well, obviously I'll get a few more starts in the States with those top 50 events, hopefully next year, so that actually probably makes my travel a little bit easier. It's only one flight instead of two, or one and a little connecting flight to sort of wherever in the States, and so my family's probably going to stay at home for quite a while next year, and I'll do a couple of hit and run missions to the States, maybe 4 or 5 weeks, which I've always kind of enjoyed. Doing that, playing 4 or 5 weeks in a row doesn't bother me too much, and it'll be cool to get that experience over there, and hopefully I can build on what happens this year. But regardless, it's to get that opportunity to be able to play in probably all the majors and a bunch of those PGA Tour events that I've grew up watching at home, the players and the match play and stuff like that. It's going to be a pretty cool opportunity, and kind of obviously I'll have a lot of European stuff to play later on in the season, and feel like I've probably got 2 bites at a PGA Tour card next year. We've got the 10 spots for the 24 season from the Order of Merit, and I've also got a chance to play my way on through getting some PGA Tour starts as well. So it's going to be an exciting year next year.
Have you thought about Augusta?
A lot, yeah. I mean, I've made bets with my mates before I turn pro. If I ever get to Augusta, I'm taking you, and then didn't realise quite how many people I'd made that bet with. And then I remember walking off the green at Dunhill, and Tim Barter kind of interviewed me straight away, and he goes, well, that's locked in the Masters. And I hadn't thought about it at the start. I was just trying not to hit it over a fence on those last 4 holes, and gone, oh, okay. And then, that sort of started thinking about it from there, and got a few things organised, which was pretty nice. And it's a bucket list for any golfer, right? Whether to watch it or to play in it, and I probably thought it'd passed me over, a couple of years ago, that I'd maybe missed my opportunity, and at 35 I'd probably be a bit more of a journeyman and never get that chance, but still enjoy what I do. And obviously this year's been a little bit different in that regard, and I'm certainly looking forward to all of next year, but definitely Augusta.
Just on that, Foxy, how confident are you that you can take this year into next year, knowing that the majors and the PGA Tour card is on the line?
I mean, you never know in this game, right? It goes as quick as it comes sometimes, but I felt like for a while, if I play my best golf, I can compete with the best players in the world, and I've had a few times where it's happened over the last few years, but obviously it's happened a lot more this year. So hopefully I can carry on doing what I'm doing, and I haven't felt like I've done anything different, which is probably a good thing in the sense this year. Everything's just got a little bit better. The consistency's there, and I've just gone out every week and just tried to beat the golf course I'm playing and not worry about any of the external stuff. And that'll be the plan next year, and hopefully it works. If not, it's going to be a great experience. And to get to play more in the States, it's always been, I think that's a dream for any golfer really, to get on the PGA Tour, and at least I've got a chance to play a few of those events. So I'll enjoy that, and if I don't play well, I don't play well. It kind of doesn't matter in that sense.
Ryan, we spoke to Min Woo and then Lucas Herbert this morning about missing out on the President's Cup. You also missed out. Was that disappointing, and do you feel that because you weren't playing in like America much that sort of counted against you?
Yeah, I was surprised for Herbie. I mean, yeah, he was obviously one out there, and I think Min and I are sort of out of sight, out of mind in that regard. You always feel like maybe the guys playing on the PGA Tour don't quite respect European or the DP World Tour quite as much. And for me, I hadn't played a whole lot in the lead up to the President's Cup. I'd played a lot up to the Open, and then took a bunch of time off, and then the couple of events I did play, I didn't play very well. So I can kind of understand it from Trevor's point of view. It looked like I was a bit out of form, and I was definitely disappointed, but it was kind of nice, that week at Dunhill to know that if I had been picked, I was still in decent form and could have gone well for the team. And I still watched a fair bit of it, and heard great things about the team room and everything like that. So it's a bit of motivation to get there for 2 years' time.
Ryan, you're coming to the end of a very long season, obviously. Have you got enough juice left in the tank for one more good week?
I hope so. I've tried to take it pretty easy this week, to be honest. The golf game's in decent shape, so it's just trying to get some rest, and I will be straight back to bed after this, I think. So, we'll see. I mean, I haven't done a whole lot of long haul travel this year. I've been based in the UK for the most part, so I don't know how the body and the brain's going to cope in the next couple of days. And as I mentioned earlier, 6 o'clock's a pretty early start tomorrow, but I feel like, if I can get some good rest tonight, I should be okay. And as I said, the golf game's still in decent shape, after the last couple of weeks. So hopefully I can contend this week, and I should be easy to get up in the next couple of days at least. Playing with 2 Aussie legends, and there'll be plenty of support out there for them, and hopefully a few Kiwis out there as well for me. So hopefully wake up and be fine on the first tee tomorrow, and I'd love to be in contention come Sunday afternoon.
Awesome. Thanks, Ryan.
Easy.
Welcome
Thanks,
back.
guys.
Good to have you.
It's good to be back. It's been a lot. It feels like a long time since I've been here.